Hello
Oh,
there.
there you are. Hi,
Thanks for taking the time to meet with us today.
thank
My name
you.
is Tiffany Esposito. I'm the CEO of the Bonita Springs Area Chamber of Commerce, and we are the Southwest Florida Alliance of Chambers. We represent eight chambers of commerces in Lee and Collier County, and we represent about 6,000 businesses and 300,000 residents. So again, thanks for being here. We just have a few questions for you. We are recording this interview, and we will be posting all of the interviews with all of the candidates on our websites and our social media. And before we get started, we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. We have a few people on the phone without video, and then we have Colleen and Jackie here on the video with us. So Colleen, if you want to kick us off.
Hi, I'm Colleen DePasquale with the Greater Fort Myers Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for taking the time today.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Victor. I'm Jackie Lezak. I'm with the Fort Myers Beach Chamber of Commerce, and we appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm Michael Dalby, and I'm the President and CEO of the Greater Naples Chamber, which serves all of Collier County.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thanks.
And we have Chris on the phone.
Good afternoon, Victor. My name is Chris Lopez. I'm a member of many of the chambers that are present here, and I consult with the Alliance since the beginning. I have consulted with the Alliance since the beginning, so thanks for being here.
Hey.
So Victor, we'd love to hear a little bit about you if you'd like to tell us about yourself.
Well, my name's, like you guys can tell from the sign behind my head, my name's Victor Dotres. I was born and raised in Miami. I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. My parents are Cuban immigrants. They left Cuba in the time when Castro was trying to take over the island. Throughout my whole life, my two brothers and I were taught the importance and how valuable it is to live here in America. My dad, he came from Cuba. From the moment he stepped over here, he was working with the United States government to try to overthrow Castro during that time and during the Bay of Pigs. And during that time afterwards, he went into the Vietnam War. And his example, while I was growing up, to me and my brothers, was that service was our paying back to society for being allowed to, for being free and having these freedoms. My mom, since we were little, my mom always used to drag us around to churches to volunteer. She taught us how to be compassionate and understand and be empathetic with others who are not in the best situation as possible. And throughout my life, both my parents, they just taught us to serve. Now, I originally, after leaving high school or growing up, I wanted to join the military like my two brothers, but my dad wanted us to attend college. And I then went on to be the first in my family to graduate from university. And I received my BFA from the University of Florida in Gainesville. And afterwards, I took some more educational courses at the College of Education and became a teacher in Collier County. And I have been teaching in Collier County for almost 20 years now, consecutive 20 years in Collier County as a public school teacher since 2001. And I've taught every single grade level. I began my first 6 years in Immokalee. I've been in all different types of schools. I served on many educational and curriculum writing committees. During those years, I was also the middle school soccer girls coach at Corkscrew Middle for 4 years, and we made it to the Final Four in my last year there. I went on to coach at Palmetto Ridge High School, the girls varsity team, for 1 year. During that time, while I was coaching, I also went and took my realtor's exam, got my realtor's license. Didn't do much with it yet. I've only had it for about a year. I've also served as a second degree Knights of Columbus member, Humane Society, United States of America. I've just, all my life, all I've done is serve. Like my sign says right there. I'm committed to my community, dedicate to service throughout my life. And to just wrap a bow on it, here I am now, and I'm 46 years old, and I'm offering myself and my application and my credentials and my resume over to the people of my district, and wanting to serve them as their state rep.
Great, thank you. What prompted you to run for office?
Well, I've always wanted to serve at a higher level. I wanted to be in the military. My dad was a helicopter crew chief and gunner. He received medals for flying hundreds of missions over enemy territory. you know, and we used to wear his little, you know, his gear, and we used to want to be, so I always wanted to serve. And as a teacher, I've always been serving for 20 years now. Now this specific election for my district, District 80, Representative Donalds was the incumbent, and I, as a Republican, I respect incumbencies. I've learned to respect incumbencies, and so I respected his position there, and so I didn't want to run against him. When I found out that he was leaving his seat and going to run for Congress, I thought, well, that means it's an open seat, and we can lay ourselves out for the public to make their choice. And that's all it's been. It's just and if I could just say one last thing, I talk too much. I'm Cuban, so forgive me if I talk too fast. My girlfriend keeps telling me, she says she's American, I'm Cuban. She's like, slow down, you're talking way too fast. I'm like, really? This is normal. But I forget the representative who just helped to pass this law, but it's a law that provides for service and therapy dogs for children who testify during cases where they've been abused. And I see, if I could just go in there and do one thing like that. I know we're here to talk about businesses and millions and billions of dollars, but to me, I would feel content if I could just go in and do one thing like that to improve the lives of many.
Great, thank you. What makes you qualified to represent the business community?
Oh, well, let me tell you, my brothers, my older brother, I respect him. He's always been the entrepreneur of the family, the Ray Crocker of the family. He's always, always trying. I mean, he was reading How to Influence Friends and People back when I was in middle school and high school. And I was in middle school carrying around the stock pages in middle school. And I remember calling up a stock agency to try to buy stocks, because I appreciate the competition and the self motivating factors that people you got to be self motivated to start a business, and I appreciate that. So as far as the business community is concerned, since this pandemic has occurred, my girlfriend and I, we've been going out to the restaurants as much as possible and to the local small businesses to support them and bring them back up. So my qualifications for the business sector, I love small businesses, and I want to do whatever I can to help you to be as prosperous as you can.
Thank you. In your opinion, what is the most pressing issue facing the Southwest Florida business community? And if elected, what will you do to address this issue?
Well, and listen, I'm not going to pretend to be a water expert, but I do believe that all of your businesses and all your chambers would agree that the water quality is probably one of the most important things that as one of your 120 state representatives needs to take care of. I mean, we have over 20 million people in Florida, and that number is only going to get higher. We need to make sure we have the best quality water that we can provide to our community and to our businesses. I think the pandemic has brought another issue. Water is the most important, I think, for all businesses, especially as a tourist state. That's the most important. But now with this pandemic, we need to open up our businesses as quickly as possible, but also at the same time keeping our citizens safe. But we need to get our businesses open as quickly as possible. I think that is going to be the most important facing businesses coming now and through December and January, February, and March, right when the 2021 session begins, is when I think you're going to need representatives like myself who appreciate what you guys do for our state.
Thank you. As you know, Southwest Florida's economy is heavily dependent on the leisure and hospitality sectors. If elected, what would you do to encourage economic diversification in the region?
Again, I support taking away and removing any barriers that prevents and blocks businesses from opening. So, and again, I would need all of you, and I'm gonna lay this right now. If I'm blessed to have the seat, I have an open door policy with all the chambers, because I'm going to use all of you guys, because I need you. You're my resources. I need to understand what's going on, and I need to understand the heartbeat of what's happening in the business society. So all of you, open door to all of you to come and speak to me and discuss the important things that we need to make happen for our state. So I'll do anything, and I'm open to any ideas to help do exactly what you said. And let's diversify and bring more businesses to the area as much as we can. And I believe the water quality kind of goes back to that answer there. Without great quality, the waters and the beaches aren't good, it's not going to help anyone. So
Yes, absolutely. And this group was formed in 2018 out of the water crisis, and water quality is and remains our #1 priority. If elected, what specific projects would you advocate for to improve and protect Southwest Florida's waterways?
Well, again, I'm going to say there are a lot of people who are experts on this topic more than I am, but here's you say, why, how am I qualified? My original degree from the University of Florida was in art. I'm an artist. I'm a painter. That means I'm open to a lot of ideas. I'm open to different angles, perspectives. So I think there's been a lot of, and I believe your organization has already done a great amount of work in suggesting remedies and to help the water quality. I think mandating certain things when it comes to certain levels of algae and what's allowed, and certain sewage systems, drainage systems. I mean, anything connected to water. I think I think you guys have worked on some issues which I can't really recite off the top of my head, but I have a handout with certain specific issues that you guys have called for that we need attention. And now I know that you guys have applauded Governor DeSantis with increasing the funding for restoring, preserving the Everglades. And you guys, I think, have called for even more funding for that. And I'm, like I said, open door policy. I need to know what you guys need so that we can make Florida better. And if we need to increase the funding there to make the water better, make it cleaner for everyone to use, then that's what we're going to do.
Great, thank you. So just 2 more questions. Last one on water. What specific actions do you think that lawmakers should take to improve and protect Southwest Florida's waterways?
All right. Well, I think there's one specific, I wish I had my notes with me right now, but I think there was one that had to do with when we go back to drainage runoffs with the agriculture and sometimes the pesticides that are used. And we're going to have to find a way, and again, I'm not the expert, we're going to have to find a way to make sure that the levels, the toxins and the levels that are running off certain areas aren't going in and polluting the water, our clean waters. I'm just stopping to think here. Again, like I said, a lot of people have done much more research than I have on this topic. I would probably defer the specific recommendations that we should do to people like yourself and others on your board who have studied it more than myself. So I don't want to sit here and say that I understand everything about what needs to be done, but the important thing is I know that something needs to be done and I'm going to do it with your help.
Great, thank you. And just last question, is there anything else you'd like us to know about you or your priorities?
Well, again, my priorities are, I have them listed on my website. It's www.voteforvictor.com. You can go on there. I have 4 basic priorities I'd like to hit on. The pandemic kind of took over everything there with the priorities. And if I could go back on the website, I think I would add how to come back from this COVID pandemic and how we can help our small businesses. I think that's going to be the most important, preparing for the possible second wave. I know flu season's coming around, so we just need to be prepared. I think the legislature has done a great job keeping some reserves, so we're good. But we're going to have to have the right people in place, elected, so that we can make the right decisions coming up. And let me just say, I really appreciate you guys having these interviews. Again, if I'm blessed to have the seat, open door policy for all the chambers, because I need all of you to help me make the right decisions for Florida.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today, and we wish you luck in the election.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. God bless you.
Have a great day.